This. Girl, I don't give a fuck about your mama. Myself. Hey yo, you know what's going on. It is Big Time Monique. Hi guys. I hope everybody's well. I hope everybody's doing okay and during these tough financial times. Guys, I'm gonna tell y'all why I'm making this video. So as most of you know, I stay in Chicago, Illinois, and it is a sanctuary city where a mass majority amount of the migrants have come to. I believe they're also in New York and Texas and a couple of other states as well. I can't speak for the other states, but I can speak for Chicago, Illinois. As a Black American, it is extremely hard right now. It is extremely tough. I mean, tough like my naps. It's extremely tough. Like, if you live alone, like if you're single with no partner, if you don't have any dependents, like no kids, it is hard right now. I know people who are in the same predicament as me that is a paycheck away from eviction. And hopefully it doesn't happen because, you know, I'm a ride for mines. They can stay with me as long as they need to. But it's just, that's majority what Black Americans are going through. Now, I was doing some research, you know, sitting in my room, making my anxiety go crazy, you know. And the research I was doing, it was basically saying, like, in Chicago, they gave the Venezuelans 6 months free of rent, which means, like, they helped them find a nice apartment, and they paid the security deposits, and they paid the first 6 months free. And then after that, they had to start paying rent every month just like everybody else. I was extremely flabbergasted. I was like disgusted because that was so unfair. Now, like they like, bro, we can't catch a break. Like,
It'd be the
bro,
legal sabotage against our
there's
people.
so many Black Americans that I know who can't even get a job right now because everyone is either requesting that you speak Spanish or they want a Spanish speaking person. And unless you are a Black American who can speak Spanish, you're not getting that job. So, like, they're not getting no help from unemployment because you know how unemployment does with the past employers. They can easily just say misconduct and you don't get that unemployment unless you want to fight for it. And during that even takes time. So there's a lot of people that are losing their homes. They have to live out on the street. They got to stay in their car just because times are so hard right now. Because if you don't have any dependents, if you don't got no kids, if you don't got no partner or someone to help share the burden with, like family, then you're out of luck, respectfully. Where's Batman when you need him? Bro, it's just, I'm just so disgusted right now with what we got going on. Like, our own country are putting immigrants, they're taking immigrants as taking precedent over people who were born here, who fought for this country, veterans, people who pay tax dollars, like, or people who did the long process of getting their green card and had to wait that long time, pay all that money. Like, it's just a spit into the face to them, I'm assuming. Bro, there was this lady. Now I don't know how true it is, so don't take this too much to heart. But she worked at a grocery store and she was ringing out a Venezuelan woman. The Venezuelan woman left her receipt. So the woman took a picture of her receipt and uploaded it to social media. Social media blew it up because on the EBT side of it, she had $10,000 left over. And then on the cash benefit side of it, she had $5,000. That is crazy to me. Y'all, I've had a link card ever since I've been living out on my own. Ever since, you know, I got kicked out of my mom's place and I've been living on my own, got my own place. It's taken a lot of that financial burden away. It's allowed me to save so much because I didn't have to come out of my pocket and pay for food that should be free. Like, it took a lot of that stress away. Bro, nothing's changed. I still pay the same amount of bills. I'm still inquiring the same type of income. They're trying to take my link card away. They're saying I make too much money. How? Like, nothing's changed. And it's just the fact that they just want to take it away and just give it to somebody else. I'm extremely hurt by it, but I'm not finna let it slide. I'm fighting for mine on myself. On the dead homegirls. Like, it's not happening. You're not taking it away. Bro, I'm upset about it. And like, I saw this TikTok. This black woman, she posted her daddy, he's a veteran. He served in one of the great wars, and he was expressing how they only giving him $23 on his link card now. And we sitting over here, people who's just crossing the border, coming over here getting VIP treatment, just getting everything handed to them while we're just struggling. The people that's been here the longest, like, this is embarrassing. And then every country is looking at America right now. They're looking at how they're treating their citizens, and this I hope they don't think that, oh, this is something that's gonna be new and they can start treating their citizens like. I hope this don't become a global thing. But what is becoming a global thing is the struggle that everybody's going through. It's not just America. That's what's crazy. It's like everyone is experiencing a struggle. They're not dealing with the migrant crisis, but even like London, Hawaii, all of them are experiencing this tough financial situations. And it's crazy because I'm just like, I'm never going to tell you who to vote for. Y'all know me. I'm never going to tell you that. I'm going to respect your opinion the same way I would appreciate and hope that you will respect mine. I'm not going to vote for Miss Harris. I'm not. I'm sorry. Like, I'm not going to vote for someone who's an adjacent black person that we didn't even select. They selected for us. And then every time you try to ask her a question about what she's going to do as far as like the economy, try to help it, recover it and stuff, nothing she says makes sense. It's loop that just sounds messed up. It doesn't make sense. Like, I'm going to show this clip to y'all, right? And I just found it interesting. I wanted to share it with y'all. Again, don't let me do anything. If you still feel firm that this is the woman that you want to be the next president, do what you're going to do. But let me ask you something. Let me ask you something and think about it. When Trump was president, were you in your bag? I'm not talking about the stimulus checks. I'm talking about, were you able to accumulate a lot of money, save? There were so many jobs out here. I promise you, when Trump was president, I didn't even care how many times that I got fired. Because I was the next day I got another one. Literally. It's not the same right now. I have to stick and I have to take crap because I can't find another job right now. Yeah, and I promise y'all, I'm not xenophobic at all. Like, I have a big heart. And obviously some people that came over here, they needed to come over here. They needed to escape the harshness of their country. So I'm all about showing love and helping those who need help. But we can't help anybody if we, like, why would I try to go help a stranger when my home is not where it should be, if that makes sense? We can't sit there and try to help other people when our country is in shambles. Like, when we get back right, then we can invite them over and help them. But other than that, we should be focusing on the people that's here, that were born here, that fought here, that tried their hardest and paid their way to make it here. That's all I'm saying. Y'all just look at this clip that I'm finna post.
So we're going to have a conversation today about some things that's going on in Chicago in relation to, the Democrat Party. Because, Democrats have ran that city for a very long time. The migrant crisis is real huge in Chicago. So we're going to, one of our sisters said in Chicago that's going on, but we have to understand that right now you got Vice President Kamala Harris. She's running for president of the United States. Now, you do know that she's already been in office for the past 3.5 years. So she's not running like she's a new candidate or something. So, you already got a preview of what you would see, because the same cast of characters that was around Biden is around her. But we'll get to talking about that a little bit later. I saw some people talking about Vice President Kamala Harris won't take interviews, and she claims she's going to do an interview by the end of the month. That's what she recently claimed. She also claimed that they're going to finally put their policies on the website. That's what she's claimed too this week. So we'll be looking for that. You know, we always on Policy Watch with Vice President Kamala Harris. So if we talk about our brothers and sisters in Chicago, I don't know if anybody from Chicago in the chat, but Chicago has been one of the major cities where the migrant crisis has been real bad. Okay. Not only that they're coming to the city, or a lot of them are also being bussed up there too from Texas. That's true. Greg Abbott say, hey, you're a sanctuary city. And that started with Lori Lightfoot. She started running off at the mouth with Greg Abbott when she was in office, talking about, why is he bussing? And he wasn't sending nobody to Chicago at the time. So when Lori Lightfoot ran off at the mouth to Greg Abbott down here in Texas, he said, oh, okay, well, you want some migrants too? Well, shoot, since you're a sanctuary city, here you go. And that's how the buses start going up there to Chicago. It wasn't Brandon Johnson that kind of poked the bear. That was Lori Lightfoot on the end of her tenure that kind of poked the bear. And he said, well, yeah, we'll take them. And there you go. So now they've been coming ever since Lori Lightfoot opened her mouth and ran her mouth when they weren't even sending. He was sending migrants to D.C. at first. He was sending them to D.C. And then when people in New York start running off at the mouth and he starts sending them over there, it's kind of like if you run off at the mouth by them, he'll send them your way if you're a sanctuary city. And Illinois is a sanctuary state as well. So in the meantime, while these politicians are playing games, who's suffering at the hands of the Democrat policies is Black Americans. Now, of course, I know people of all communities are suffering with the migrant crisis, not saying that, but, you know, here we talk about what happens with Black America. Other communities have their own platforms to talk about what they need to talk about. And many people in the city in general did not want Chicago to be a sanctuary city. Many of them were going to and we covered this definitely on the podcast and even here. Many people went up to the city council meeting and they were giving Brandon Johnson the business. Why? Many people, voted for Brandon Johnson. He's a Democrat. And all the aldermen, Democrats, they call them aldermen in Chicago. We may call them the city councilmen in like certain cities down here or maybe throughout the country. But they call them aldermen up there. The same thing, instead of councilmen. They told them, we don't want a sanctuary city. We don't want that. We don't want that. We don't want that. I forgot that brother name, the alderman that was trying to say, hey, let's put it to a vote, let the people vote on it. And Brandon Johnson is the one that stood in the way for the people to actually have some democratic, a democratic voice. In other words, they want it on the ballot. That way, if the people can vote on it, if they want sanctuary city status or not. And when Brandon Johnson and the Democrats in Chicago did that, it just clicked to me. I said, wait a minute. These people don't believe in democracy. They do all that preaching about democracy. We need to save democracy. Trump is a threat to our democracy. But then when it was time to have some true democracy and put things on the ballot so voters can go make a choice. Listen, if the voters say they want sanctuary city, fine. They sanctuary city. If the voters don't want sanctuary city, then they don't want it. I think, personally, the majority of the things that these people are making laws on, it should be voted on by the people of the United States. You understand what I'm saying? It should be like, okay, y'all could pass something, but the people would have the final say so on the voting, right? Just like when they took the deal from the federal courts, the federal level with the Roe v. Wade, and they put it in the states. There are some states that say, yes, that's what we want. There are some states that said, no, that's not what we want, right? So it makes it a true democracy that everyone has a voice. But the Democrats don't believe in democracy because look at what they did with Vice President Kamala Harris. That was not democracy. Democracy would be, okay, Joe Biden bowed out. He said he bowed out because basically he was so toxic, he's going to make the Democrats lose in the election, right? This is what Joe Biden admitted in a recent interview. Democracy would have said, okay, if he bows out, we need to have a primary. Right? So the people can actually vote for you in a primary to put you up as a nominee for the Democrat Party. That's not what happened. The donors and Nancy Pelosi and Barack Obama and all them, they got behind the scenes and they finessed to get Joe Biden out. Okay, they got Joe Biden out. Fine. No problem. Democracy said. How do you circumvent democracy, Democrats? But you're sitting up here telling people we need to come out and vote for a candidate you literally selected, not elected by the people. You selected this person, put her on the ballot, gentlemen. So they put her on the ballot. Y'all didn't select her. And then they're putting so much media behind her and so much spin behind her, right? So much spin. And nobody's paying attention to this. Say, wait a minute, this isn't right. Now, in Chicago, the policy of the Biden-Harris administration has been open borders. That's been their policy. It is at first when people was reporting that they were flying in migrants on top of coming across the border, they'll say, oh, that's misinformation or whatever. Then it comes out later. That's exactly what they were doing. Everything they claim is misinformation comes out later. That's exactly what they were doing. And they were flying them to cities like Chicago. 30,000 people a month was flying into this country during the Biden-Harris administration. They had an app called the CBP-1 that they were using in their home countries to get a flight to come over here to the United States of America. And they didn't just come over here and say, okay, put them over here and put them and they can just get a job, right? Hey, they got to get it like they live. Oh, no. Listen to what this black woman says, what was happening out there in Chicago. This is going to kind of enrage a lot of American citizens. Let's go ahead and cue this up.
I'm just waiting on the day that everybody in Chicago wake up and start talking about how these Venezuelans are the only people that's getting jobs. How the Venezuelans in Chicago get an EBT card with $4,000 on there, and every time somebody posts it, y'all always removing it. I'm just waiting. Because it's crazy, like, I went to go fill out a whole bunch of job applications and y'all know them things is in Spanish. Like, not to say I don't know Spanish, but that is crazy, like how a city can adjust to the outside before they make accommodations for the inside. But ain't nobody talking about that. It's all right, though.
Well, I understand what she meant by it's all right. It's not all right. So did you hear what she's saying? So Black Americans and of course all residents of Chicago are paying taxes, right? So she's saying that they're getting $4,000. Well, then there was a receipt that was posted. I just couldn't verify the authenticity of it, but I'm just going to say it's an alleged receipt. An alleged receipt that was posted online. I said alleged because I can't verify the authenticity, but it was supposedly came from a migrant. And it had thousands of dollars worth of EBT and cash value money on there that American citizens cannot get. So let's focus on Chicago. You have Black Americans who cannot get jobs. In this same city, they were doing secret job fairs in Chicago for the migrants. They kept it hidden. They kept it hush hush. They didn't want nobody to know about it. The media found out about it. They had about 500 people in there. It was a job fair. Companies all over the place in the city of Chicago was trying to hire the migrants. But American citizens, you're not getting preferred in your own country. In Chicago, they were giving 6 months free rent to migrants in Chicago. Black Americans, you're getting nothing. If you cannot pay your rent, you will be evicted out of your home, apartment, wherever you're staying. Then you're going to be relegated to your car. And then now the Supreme Court, as of recently, allowed these governors to get you off the street. They can criminalize homelessness now. Yes, they're criminalizing homelessness. Look, Gavin Newsom, immediately after the Supreme Court said that, you would think, oh, a Republican state would say that. It was a Democrat state, California. It's supposed to be for the poor and marginalized people. What did Gavin Newsom do in California? He immediately did executive order to get them homeless people off the street. Now, it was that horrible Democrat economy that they created in California that got people homeless, where everything is so freaking sky high where people cannot live. But no, you're going to criminalize the homeless people. So they're creating a homeless problem. And at the same time, they want to use the homeless to criminalize homelessness and make them slaves in jail by the 13th Amendment. Because you know the 13th Amendment allows slavery under crime and punishment. So this country has never abandoned slavery. It abandoned privately owned slavery, but it was transferred from privately owned to state-ran slavery. And the reason why there are people out here that don't have a problem with that kind of slavery is because they would say, oh, well, that's what they get. They deserve that. I'm a little bit more harsh. I'm the type of person I would say, look, certain crimes deserve to be capital punishment personally. And that was the only way to curb certain behavior. But these people want you to be a slave so you can work for corporations. That's the only time Americans can really get jobs. A lot of times, especially if you're poor. Yes, Sean, they're here. But that's all done by design. And who's in office that has got this many people across? The Biden-Harris administration. This was part of their legacy to do this. And you mean to tell me that we as Black Americans supposed to get excited about a woman who's Black adjacent? That's what we're supposed to get excited about. Who's going to give us 4 more years of what's going on in Chicago? So fast, ladies and gentlemen, it won't be that long for y'all to be out there early voting. And for those of you who say you're going to vote, whatever, how you're going to vote, I always recommend early voting because you don't want to be in that crowd on election day. I never did that. So I've always been a person that believed in early voting. You get in, you get out. That's what, if you choose to. Now, if you're choosing the couch, that's not your issue. That's not your problem. But you can just watch the results on TV, right? Whenever they come in. All right. So we're going to have a conversation today about some things that's going on in Chicago in relation to, the Democrat Party. Because, Democrats have ran that city for a very long time. The migrant crisis is real huge in Chicago.
That we need to address. Well, first of all, no, I don't think America is a racist country.
Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit Black people. No.
So fast.
This would I be rocking underneath the wigs. I felt that it was
that
fitting given the video.
Y'all be out there early
but
voting.
The whole message of the video is we need to stop being gullible and voting for people just because they have a slight pigmentation in their skin. Most of these quote unquote Black leaders are just being good boys and girls and collecting their little coins on the side as long as they keep up with the status quo. The status quo is keep Black America down. Don't let them rise. We got to do better. Now, again, I'm not telling you who to vote for, but just use the proper discernment, babes. Okay, until next time, you guys be safe out here. Mwah. Bye, babes.